Hi guys, it's your girl Me-Anie here, and right now I am actually going to go live with this video and show you how to paint a chair. Sally, you can't be in the video. No. Show you how to paint a chair. So I have two chairs. Siler, go. Go to bed or something. Go to bed. Go. I have two chairs here with me right now, right behind me, and I'll kind of go over with you what we have to use and what these chairs are. Get out of here, boy. Siler, go. We're not doing this. So this chair over here, this is the one that I actually painted already. It does need a couple more steps, and I'll do that in the video with you. So when I found this chair probably about 3 weeks ago in the dumpster. It was a greenish color. If you go onto my Instagram Barbadian261, I have a couple of before and after pictures of what this chair looked like prior, so you can see what it was before I actually painted it. So I'm sorry guys. I really wanted to record this video, but it's just way too much to do. So no, that's so bright. This is kind of what they looked like before. They were green. One of them had like a big old mark in the middle. And since then, I actually painted them to this gray color. And that's the before and after. This one right here, it's wet because I was cleaning it off. This one I got from Goodwill a couple years ago. It used to be like a lightish white color. I painted it. Actually, I dyed it to this gray color, but now I'm going to paint it to a teal color. So what I used was folk art home decor paint, and it's called, this color is going to be Gruta. It's a chalk paint, and it's good for furniture. It's good for fabric. And then at the end, I'm going to seal it in with a wax. So this chair still needs to get the wax on there, and I'll do this in the video as well. So along with the paint, what you'll need is a brush, and this is also their brand, folk art brand brush. I believe the brush was probably about $10. This was $7.99. You can get it at Joann's. You can get it at Michael's. I went in when they had like those coupons that were like 40% off. So I did that with these. And this big jar of wax, I believe this one was $13.99. So the color of this chair is Maui Sand. That's the grade that I used. And we're going to be using this teal color today. Not sure if I want a whole teal chair, but that's what we're going to do. Also, what I'll need is some sandpaper, because you do have to sand in between, and we'll go over why as we do that, and also a spray bottle with some water. It's good to have gloves, and I do not have gloves right now, so hopefully I don't get my hands too dirty. What I am going to start doing, Tyler, that's not good. I'm going to start by adding some of this paint to the water. And the consistency that you want, you're basically diluting the paint so it's not as thick. The water is going to help it absorb into the fabric a lot better than just using the paint by itself. So I basically do a 1-to-1 ratio. This bottle has about, I believe it's 8 ounces in here. So I do 4 ounces of paint to about 4 ounces of water. And I mix that in really, really well. Let me grab something to mix this in with. I'm not going to use the brush to mix it in, just because if I use the brush is going to take up a lot of the paint, as opposed to just mixing it in. So from experience, the brush just takes a lot of the paint in. So you can do it however you want to. If you think it's a little bit too watery, you can add some more water to it. There is no right or wrong way. You're basically trying to dilute the paint so that you can evenly distribute the color onto the paint in different coats. So you will have to do multiple coats, and it all depends on how dark you want your furniture to be in the end. For this chair, I believe I did maybe about 3 coats. I believe I did about 3 coats of paint. So I'm taking my time. I'm just going to mix this all up. You know what? If I get the lid for this, I can probably just shake everything up at one time. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Make it a little bit easier. So everything's distributed evenly and I don't have like a bunch of paint sitting on the bottom. I would have loved to do an actual video and edit this for you guys, but it's just so time consuming. Let me see if I can open the chat for this as well so that if you have any questions, you guys are able to ask them. Let's see. Are you guys able to see the little chat over on the side? If you have questions as I go along, you can definitely ask them and I'll be able to respond to you either verbally or I'll come back and I'll text them in a little bit later. Get this all set up. So I see my text box there and let's click on this. We're going to mute it so it doesn't play back. And yes, perfect. All right. So this is what the consistency looked like. You see it's not too watery, but you can still see that there's a little bit of a, not watery. See how it's dripping down? That consistency is good enough for me. Now, what you want to do first is you want to start by wetting the furniture, the material of the chair that you're going to paint. The reason that you're doing that is going to help the chair absorb the material, absorb the paint. There goes the damn cat. What I started out with doing, I actually cleaned this with, I have a wet vac that I use. I cleaned that down a little bit. And then if you have a cat like I do, a good thing to do is to get a wet rag, and if you don't have a vacuum, just get a wet rag and kind of wipe it down a little bit. That'll get a lot of the fur off instead of painting that cat fur into the chair. So that's what I was doing with this, because my cat for some reason thinks that this chair belongs to him, and he lays in every chair in the house. So what I'm going to do now, I don't know why you guys really want to just lay all up in here. Go. Stay over there, please. All right, so we're going to start by wetting the chair. You don't want to soak it, but you want to get it evenly distributed on the fabric. That way when you put the paint on, it's not just sitting on the surface, it's going through the fabric. If you wanted to use like a little container with a rag and just rub it onto the furniture, you can do that as well, instead of spraying your life away like I'm doing here. So don't do a huge area at one time. Just do a small area. I'm going to do the back of this chair because I'm going to breeze through this pretty quickly. But try to do a smaller area. Like if this was the first time I was doing this, I would probably split this into 4. So wet this area, then this and that, and go through and paint each one. All right, so now this is pretty much moist. Hate that word as a descriptive word. Now what I'm going to do is, and I wish I had gloves, but I don't. I'm going to get this paint that I have. I'm going to dip my brush. And I'm going to start painting. Okay, so the trick is you want to make sure you swirl the brush in a circular motion, and you definitely want to do that if the material is not flat. Like if it's something like a velvet, this chair, for instance, this one over here, that wasn't like a flat material. It had a little bit of a, I think it was like velvet or some shit. Let me see, make sure I can see your questions. I do see Haitian Princess. I see your comment there. Perfect. All right, so here we go. This is like the moment of truth, right? All right, so we start swirling it. Oh, this is gonna be pretty. Oh my God, I thought I did not want a freaking teal colored chair, but goodness gracious, this is gonna be cute. So the trick is to go in circles, and that's gonna get the fabric in every direction. So you're not only going up and down, you're going side to side. So that's where the swirls come in handy. Oh my God, isn't this color pretty? I'm in love with this color. Freaking kidding me. Even after I go in swirls, I tend to still go up and down, side to side, just to make sure that I'm getting all of the fabric covered with this color. The worst thing that you would do is paint, and then at the end, you look at the chair from another angle and notice like the material did not absorb the paint. And that was the case with the gray chair behind me when someone else, whoever owned it before, painted it. Isn't this color cute? Oh my God. Now, one thing that you also want to do, make sure that you get down in between here. I noticed when I did one of my other chairs, I didn't press down and get in between here. So when I went to sit in it, I saw all the color back here. So when you sit in the chair, this comes down and you see all in here, you'll see the color that it used to be if you don't get it covered. So you might need a smaller brush to do that. If not, just try to jam your brush in there to make sure that color goes down in between the creases. I said there's no right or wrong, it's just technique to get the job done. All right, so I'm not gonna mess with this too much more. I'm gonna let this stay. And I'm gonna move on to the seat because I got a little bit of color on there and I want everything to be the same color. Where's my spray bottle? There we go. Sila, you are in the way. The seat is already wet a little bit, but I'm going to go back through and make sure that no dry spots are here. Oh, spray bottle. Sila, you're going to be turquoise if you don't get out of here. All right. You guys can see that, right? I'll do this. I'll tilt it up a little bit for you. So now we're going to do the seat of the chair. Same thing. Swirls. Remember the last video I did when I dyed a chair, Sila was in the background as well. He just likes to be in the midst of it all. Oh, this is a workout. Not too. My back is killing me. Okay. You guys basically get the gist of that, right? So we're going to cover the entire bottom of the chair. Seat, I should say. And then you basically want the fabric to dry. Doesn't have to dry overnight, maybe a few hours, and it all depends on what kind of fabric you have. Some fabric, some material, of course, is going to take longer to dry than other material. to know as you do that test. You touch it and see if it's dry enough to get another coat. Like I said, it doesn't have to be totally dry because in the end, you're going to go back and moisten the material before you add another coat. So once I'm all finished with this and it dries for a few hours, I believe my last chair let dry for maybe 4 hours. The step that you have to do in between, you have to go in between with sandpaper, and this is 320 grit. You want to go in between each coat with sandpaper and you sand it. You sand it because you don't want the paint to be rough and scratchy on your skin. If you do not do that that step, you will have a chair that's like super rough on your skin, and it's just gonna look good, but you can't use it, you know? So that chair that's in the background, that's exactly what's going on with that. And it doesn't help it because of the material. So imagine, can't think of the correct name of the material that I'm trying to think of, but think of like a velvet. You know how it's like raised? So think of a velvet, and then you have paint on velvet, and it's not smooth because it's not sitting down flat. So as that paint dries, it becomes hard and crusty. So you want to go in and basically sand away that to make it a little bit more smooth. Now I'm going to wet down here because I didn't get the piping on this chair. So I'm going to wet this and get that color in there. So the next step that you'll see me will be on the other chair that I have back there, where I go in and basically sand it before putting on that clear coat. This chair, I'm not sure how many coats I'm going to do on it. I'm going to see how this looks in the end when it dries. Maybe I'll add another coat. Maybe I'll just sand it. And then after that, after I sand it, maybe I'll just put on clear coat. Now, same thing for this. You'll wet the entire back of it. And if you're doing this in the house, make sure you put a towel or something down. Like right now, I'm walking around and the floor is soaking wet because I'm spraying this on here. How are you guys liking this so far? Isn't this like nice? This chair was freaking $10 from Goodwill. $10. And honestly, you think it'll be cheaper to get some of this stuff reupholstered, but when you look into it, I think it probably would have cost me like maybe close to $300, if not more, to get those two chairs reupholstered, because you have to think about purchasing enough fabric. You have to think about the labor, you know, getting someone to actually do that for you. All that crap costs. For me, those two chairs that I found that were free, I probably spent like close to $25 or $30 on materials alone just to do those two chairs. What I'll do too, I'll go back through and I'll get the exact amount so I can tell you how much I spent to color the two chairs, the two great chairs that I showed you in the picture. I'm running out of water, but I'm almost done. Come on! Trigger finger, all right? It's looking good, right? We're almost there. Tyler is like knocked out on the floor. All right, so swirls. You guys saw that little mark that was there? You see how it got covered? That mark I wasn't able to get out. It was a little stain on the chair when I purchased it, and that's why I dyed it. Make sure I don't mess my shirt up. That's why I dyed it this gray color, but even with using this light gray color, it still wasn't able to fully cover that mark, but this paint will. And make sure, when I say chalk paint, I'm not talking about chalkboard paint. That's a misconception that a lot of people have, and they go to like Home Depot and buy, oh my God, this looks amazing. They go to Home Depot and buy chalkboard paint, and then the results vary, you know? Like if you guys were, how many of you guys are gonna try this? And then what color would you have like an accent chair in your house? They had all types of colors in this. They had like reds and greens, like yellow, that gray that I showed you, like beautiful freaking colors they had. Like what would be your accent color for a chair? Type that down below so I can see. And the good thing about this too, like I can, if I decide that I want to change my accent color, I can always go back, buy another jar of this paint and change this color with no problem. And it costs what, $7.99? $7.99 and some time, that's all I need. Able to see, yeah. Turn it a little bit. Let's see it better. It's coming on. Pretty good, pretty good. Oi. What you doing, buddy? Now I'll be able to see in the end if I can wipe off the paint off of these silver studs, because I don't necessarily want these silver studs to stay painted, and they look like they don't want to anyway. So I'll probably just have to go in with some kind of like paint remover and take that color off of the studs, and that shouldn't be too hard at all. Oy. Am I missing anything yet that I'm not? Anything from a different angle? I think I'm good so far. Yeah. This is all still in the field, so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. All right, so I would say the back is pretty much done. Now I just have to do the side and the front of the chair, and that'll be it for this. So instead of taking you all, you know what, I might as well just finish it up, and then we'll move on to the next step. Excuse me 1 second. Okay. So we just have to do this side. I'm sorry, Tyler. And then the front of the chair. Oh yeah. I'm left-handed, so I look kind of weird doing it with my right hand. My neighbors are walking by and they're like looking at my old setup. They're looking at me paint my chair. Here. Sorry, Tyler. They're looking at me paint my chair. They're looking at my setup on my porch. Because you guys know I have like this DIY. I have like this pilot furniture outside on my porch and all that stuff. They're moving it upstairs, so they're like checking everything out. All right, so we're happy with this side. And it's good too if you have like a smaller brush to go back through and do some of the detail, like get in between this piping. It's not necessary, but it's good for like getting some of that detail. Alright. So that. Hit this real quick. And it's starting to get hot outside too, so I can easily just slip this chair outside. I wouldn't put it directly in the sun. I'll probably just sit it in the shade a little bit and let some of the air just dry it up a little bit quicker. So that's the good thing right now about the temperature. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. What I'm thinking is I'll probably go back in at the end and maybe spray paint, the bottom of the chairs, the legs, gold. Maybe. Okay. Right now, as I'm doing this, I can see some cat fur on here. And good thing about this, the water helps it to dry, but it doesn't stick the cat fur to the furniture. So it comes off as it dries, and then as you go in and sand, that'll take some of that foreign fiber off. So if you got cat fur or anything like that that you weren't able to vacuum up prior to doing that, it'll come off. So this chair is pretty much done. How long have we been recording? How long did that take me? Doesn't tell me right now. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't tell me right now how long it took to do this so far. But Patient Empress, you've been here. If you are still in here, tell me how long you've been watching this video. So this is pretty much done as of right now. I'm going to slip this, move this over to the side. And we're going to work now on the gray chair so I can show you what you need to do. Wash my hands or wipe them off. So the next thing we're going to do is this chair that was painted previously, we are going to sand this down. It's going to make it smoother. You're going to be able to actually use it. It's not going to be rough on your skin. If you're like me and you have very sensitive skin, you definitely do not want to have this material scratching on you as you try to sit down and relax, right? So again, you can get, this is a 320 grit, and all you need to do at this point is just go through and sand the chair down. Let me back this up a little bit. Make sure that we're in frame so you can see what's going on. Oh, I am out of breath. So circular motion is good to make sure you're getting all directions. And I wish I could show you guys that the cat fur that was on here is just coming up. This, oh, almost sat on the chair. I almost sat on that chair, the one that we just painted. Wish I could really like show you guys the difference and how it feels. So you're not sanding away too much, you're just sanding until you can feel the difference in the material. surprised you guys didn't have any questions so far. I must be doing a pretty good job in answering as we're going along. Let me just move this to make sure I'm not missing any of your questions. Perfect. Oh yeah. All this right here would tear my legs up. That's much better. Remember, this is 320 grit, so it's not going to last that long. You definitely want to make sure you have enough to switch out. You can get it at Home Depot. They come in like little thin packs where it's like maybe 4 or 5 in there. I just thought of something too. I'm not going to be able to apply the clear coat because I only have one brush, and that teal is probably going to try to transfer onto my clear coat. Who knows? Maybe I'll do maybe I'll do a part 2 to this so you can see that chair from beginning to end, but I'll at least show you what the sanding is looking like, and then we can always go back to sealing the chairs. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So sand it down. Wish you could see how this is right here. Like all this is raised and rough. Let me see. Maybe I can bring this camera closer to you guys. Oh, let you see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so let's see. Right here, like all this is material that's raised. So this is super rough on the skin. What we want to do is make it a little bit more smooth like it is here. So that's all I'm doing right now. Guys, that is that's pretty much it. So whew, that worked up a little sweat. This chair is now ready to be sealed. So what I would do now is